Hello everyone, my name is Griff, and today we are going to be going over the newest showcase, the Heroes of Fire Emblem showcase, as well as the Platinum showcase that is on focus right now, as well as some of the other news that has come out so far as part of this week. So, just to start on the new things that have dropped before today, it was announced that this showcase was coming yesterday, as well as a Platinum showcase. Now I'm just going to quickly go over this Platinum showcase. This is a Platinum showcase you can do up to 3 times, and you'll be able to get one adventure each time you do it. It's not guaranteed to be a different adventure, so you could get duplicates, but if you don't have any of them and you really want just one of them, it is a guaranteed way to get at least one of the Fire Emblem adventures. Speaking of the banner itself, before I go over the banner in game and in notice, I do want to quickly go over the worm sigils. As you can see, all 6 of the heroes from Fire Emblem are sparkable, as well as Apollo, Gabriel, Taishang Gongzu, and High Chthonius. So, dragon-wise, not great. Adventure-wise, we'll get into it. But other news than just that, the Agents of the Goddess Facility is back online. There is a time event coming on the 19th. So be ready for that this week. There is going to be, actually there already was added, the Fire Emblem Kindred Ties event and the Fire Emblem Lost Heroes event. I'll make a video going over the 2 of these and just briefly going over them. You know, they are a little bit different than normal events because they are defensive events, and those have a little bit of a tweak to them. So we'll look over those. Additionally, there is a Fire Emblem Heroes profile card sharing event. So if you go to Twitter right now, either Twitter, the American Twitter or the Japanese Twitter, you will see that there is a image going over the fact that you can basically make a profile card with one of the Fire Emblem characters. You can tweet it out with certain hashtags, and then you'll be entered in a chance to win 10,000 Wormite. And 2 people will be randomly selected to win 10,000 Wormite. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if it's 2 total or 2 from each side, but good luck to whoever wins those. Hopefully I'll win it, but who knows. But now let's get into the showcase itself. So this showcase, I did want to wait simply because I wanted to see who was sparkable, but all these units have been in the game since they were originally added, so most of these units are at least a year old. Some of these units are 2 years old. I'm just going to quickly give a brief explanation of each of them, and then my thoughts on them as a character, because I'm going to preface this video by saying that very few, as far as I can think of, only 1 or 2 of these are necessary, you know, like meta units. In my opinion, Tiki and Veronica and kinda Peony are the 2-ish or 3 that you really need for co-op for meta purposes. I say a lot of people will be surprised I'm saying Peony, but if you did play the Persona event, you do have a free welfare version of Peony, which has a granted weaker but very similar co-ability in Light Boost. Now you lose about 5% and they don't stack with each other, but if you already have this and you're low on summoning resources and you're thinking of saving for other things and you're not sure if you want to summon on this showcase, Sophie is a great sort of conduit to get that light damage boost that you would be getting from Peony. No, let's just go right into it. So first off, we have Marth. Now Marth is an interesting case because, in my opinion, Marth was one of the best flame swords in the game. As soon as he got a 70 MC, he was really dominant. He was really fun to play. Then Curse of Nahodi kind of showed up, the meta kind of evolved, and he kind of is a more buff-centric unit, and he kind of got left in the dust, unfortunately. But he does have some very unique properties as far as outside of Curse of Nahodi that I do think make him worth getting. He is amazing in Volk. I used him to clear Volk back when Volk came out, and that was super fun, and that was super cool to see him being used there. So let's quickly go over Flickering Flames. So flame damage directly ahead and gradually recovers the user's HP for 15 seconds. Super good. Then his Fire Emblem, the skill actually called Fire Emblem, deals flame damage to enemies in a line and activates skill ship. If the attack connects, phase 1 increases the user's strength by 10%, phase 2 increases the enemy's strength by 10%, phase 3 increases the entire team's strength by 10% and adds a attack rate plus 30% for 10 seconds. So essentially, use the skill, it activates skill shift, that gives you more buffs and stronger buffs while being at it. And then he has Dragon Haste, and above 10 hits equals Strength plus 13%. This first skill, even though it doesn't show the numbers here because these are older units, this first skill I believe does more than 10 hits. He kind of like jabs in the air a bunch of times and does one finisher. So you essentially get this strength buff just from using his first skill. So really you should look at this first skill as also having a strength buff, because you will get this. And then additionally he has the thing that I think really is important to him, which is Last Boost 2. Fills 100% of the team's skill gauge when a user drops below 30% HP once per quest. Now, the thing is about this is that in his 70 MC version, this has actually been upgraded to Last Boost 3, so it does twice per quest. So you can actually get this if you do have him 70 MC'd to happen twice per quest. And there's a lot of speed runs and a lot of, applications of that. You get low, your healer gets all their skills back, it can happen twice, kind of thing. So there is a lot of applications of Marth. Marth, even though he does have a bit of problems with buff and a bit of problem with nihility, he is rather able to do the things that he still needs to do outside of the nihility meta. So I do think that he is one of my favorite units to play in the game. He's basically, it's very kind of similar to how he feels in Smash Bros. I don't like drawing comparisons between the two because they're so different, but he does kind of feel that way. He's kind of quick on his feet, kind of spacing himself out and waiting for the perfect moments. And I really do like that about him. Then we have Veronica. Veronica has Guess Spent, which deals shadow damage to a target and nearby enemies. Lower the user's HP, the more skill damage this deals. And then she has Nosferatu. Those shadow damage to surrounding enemies restores 5% of the HP inflicted to the user as HP. This recovery caps at 50% of their maximum HP. So, the thing about her is that if we look down here, we can see Last Destruction 2. All of them have this last ability, or at least the first 3 do. Last Destruction 2 increases the damage of the next attack of the skill used by each teamer by 40% when the user drops to 30%. The cool thing about this is that in her 70 MC, and already here, she is a low health focused unit. And this was pretty early in Duralia's history to have a unit like this. We didn't have anything like this at the time. And nowadays she is extremely good at speedrun nuking. This first skill is amazing at sharing off to other things. And she does have a lot of strength and a lot of potential in her of herself, since she doesn't really rely on buffs as much. She kind of just relies on being in low HP, staying in low HP, and her 70 MC kind of fills in the gaps that would leave her weaker. So she does have a lot of strength, and I do believe that she is worth summoning for if you do need a Shadow Wand. Now, I already have her 1, and 2, I have a bunch of other Shadow Wands, so I don't feel as much of a need to summon for her if I didn't have her, other than the fact that they are limited. Every unit on this banner is limited. I have no idea when they'll come back. I don't know if they will come back. Maybe next time, maybe next year we'll get a Phase 3. Kind of doubt it, but we'll have to see. So keep that in mind, that this might be the last times we're seeing these units. Before you summon, just take that into account. And then next we have Tiki, who is on here. Are they the only 3 on here? They're the only 3 on here. Wow, okay. Next we have Tiki, who's on here. The good thing about wow, that's crazy. I set up the layout on my my video software to have Marth, Tiki, and Veronica, because those are the 3 I wanted to talk about. And then I go in game, and the 3 of them are segmented off together. So the thing about Tiki is that she is sort of a drag and drop character. She works a little bit different though. So essentially she has these 2 skills. When she's in her normal form, the first skill will deal damage and raise the Divine Dragon Gauge. The second skill will fully raise the Divine Dragon Gauge when used. It basically just fully fills it up. She has a unique ability of standard attack damage. This actually isn't fully unique. Galaxy also has this ability, and I think someone else does. I don't remember off the top of my head. But she does kind of have it. She has Dragon Haste. And so the way that this works is that when she transforms into a dragon, when you activate the dragon button, she turns into a dragon, but she keeps her health bar. And essentially she gains tankier stats and is able to sort of be a bit buffier while in this dragon form. And both of her skills change from kind of these building the Dragon Gauge skills to, I'm forgetting the name, Frostbite. Frostbite and Frostbite Punisher skills. So her first skill turns into the Fog of Breath skill, which deals water enemy and inflicts Frostbite, and Frostbite foes take extra damage. And her second build goes into Divine Dragon Blow, which does extra damage to Frostbite foes. so she kind of goes up and slams. She's super good in the backline because one, she's a Frostbite enabler, obviously, and as you can see, she even has Frostbite Punisher in her kit. But she'll auto transform, and she is a kind of, as I said, kind of this tankier unit in the game. She does kind of have this tankiness when she is in her dragon form, and she's able to maintain her dragon form pretty well because, you know, you can go out of dragon and then go back into dragon to get your skills kind of thing. She can use her second skill as a way to keep it. Kind of cool to see it. It's a bit different than most of the other Dragon Drive characters in the game, so it is cool to see it in real time, and she's very fun to play. Obviously, she's a dagger, which means that as soon as I heard she was coming out, I got her. That was a long time ago. Let's go into... I don't know if they showed the others in the other notice. They might have. That would have been a smart way to do it. Let's see. No, they didn't. It's just the three of them. Interesting. Okay. Let me go quickly over here to the showcase info where we can hopefully see... No, we really can't. Okay. Well, then I will just go over them in my collection since I happen to have them all. So, starting at the top, we have Chrom. Now, Chrom is a bit of an interesting case because Chrom kind of builds up for his Aether skill. So Aether deals damage to the target and restores his sum of HP, and then he has these two things. If the skill strength will be increased relative to the number of Flames of Awakening stacks the user has, will consume all Flames of Awakening stacks for one level of the skill reservoir on use. So essentially he has a skill reservoir. It's the same thing that Gala Alex has, and if you don't know what that is, basically as you attack you fill up the skill reservoir and you can transfer it into skills. His first skill does a very minimal amount of damage, and it eventually gives him a stack of his passive, which is called Flames of Awakening. When he's at 3 stacks of Flame of Awakening, meaning you've used this first skill 3 times, and you have the skill reservoir at the 3rd level, using Aether will transform it into, I don't know what it's called, I don't know if it's called anything at all, it's just a more powerful version of itself, which at the time of his release was the highest damage modifier in the game. So essentially he would kind of just like build up power and then slam it down and do a bunch of damage. Now, on paper that's a cool idea. In practice, it didn't lead to much. It led to kind of specific comps building around his burst and one-shotting Volk, which, don't get me wrong, cool, but, you know, not exactly meta, not exactly consistent, not exactly what you would really want to see out of a unit. So, all in all, I don't think you should summon for him for meta purposes, but he does have one unique thing about him, which is his co-ability. He has a co-ability of HP and defense plus 10% each. It's kind of a mix-up of the Axe co-ability and the Lance co-ability in a pretty cool way, and that's pretty awesome, because it allows you to kind of put this on the back line if you're trying to main a more tanky unit, you're trying to main, you know, maybe a healer and you want all the HP you can possibly get, you can slap him onto the backline kind of thing. There is a lot of applications of this, especially in an auto scenario. He does kind of have a sort of consistency in auto if you need that kind of push for the HP and defense. But as I said, he has full strength plus 15%. He has sleep res and he has Rightful King, which essentially transforms the skill into the Awakening Aether. That's what it's called. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Next, we're going to go on to Fjorm. Now, Fjorm was a Generation 1 unit, and this unit is interesting because in a design space, it's almost painfully obvious to me that Fjorm was designed for Heimbruchhilde. Now, Heimbruchhilde is not really a hurdle for most people anymore. Most people can auto Heimbruchhilde, most people can invest in whatever they want into Heimbruchhilde without having to worry too much. But if you want to clear Heimbruchhilde, Fjorm is one of the best characters to do it. She has a cheese of almost every level of Heimbruchhilde focused on her second skill, Ice Mirror. So her second skill, Ice Mirror, summons Ice Mirror and then deals damage to the target and nearby allies. Additional bonus damage will be dealt relative to the damage she takes while Ice Mirror is active. So essentially she stands skill, she takes her damage, then she basically does a counter. There's not much like it in Regalia at the moment. I believe Lay and Delphi have a counter technically, but hers is much more over the top in my opinion. Hers is the one that everyone I see talking about whenever they talk about a counter in the game. Her first skill essentially goes forward and freezes, and frostbitten foes take extra damage. I haven't, you know, gone too much into her 70 MC because I haven't been too reliant on it. But she does have this last Bravery effect, which is when increases the team strength by 30% and defense by 40% for 15 seconds when the user drops to 30 HP. And the way this would work back in the day, especially since she has skill prep, is that right before the opening blast, you'd use skill 2, you do your skill 2, you'd drop below 30% HP, all the forms would get a buff, all the forms would give people a buff, you'd be instantly at 200% strength, you'd use your first skill, you'd instantly put Hybrid Hilda into break, you transform into a dragon, you'd all use your dragon skill while still being at 200% strength. Boom. Dead Hybrid Hilda. I haven't seen her being used in the twins. I don't know how consistent it is. It definitely is not meta, from what I've seen at least. So, she's cool. I think that she's a really unique playstyle, which I don't think there is anything like it right now in Regalia, especially since she has the skill haste and has these effects that she can put out. So it is pretty cool to see. And then last but not least, we're gonna go on to Peony. Now Peony is a fairy, kind of a motif before Not came into the game. The cool thing about her is that she has this light damage plus 20% co ability, and this is kind of one of the main reasons that you want to summon her. She was, I believe, the first person in the game to have an ability like this. Then Mona got one, and then Sophie got another kind of thing. Essentially, the way that she works is that her second skill will deal light damage and increase the entire team's strength and attack rate, and paralyzed foes will take extra damage. And it ties into, I believe, her aid of the, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but grants the entire team's life steal at the start of the quest. Using Gentle Dreams will grant the Empowering Dreams effect. When this effect is after, the user's next Force Strike will fill 40% of the skill gauge of each team member initially, except Peony, and grant the following to all team members for 10 seconds, none of which will stack: increased strength, increased attack rate, increased defense, 5 shadow resistance, and 5 movement speed. The Empowering Dreams will not stack and will be consumed on use and will not activate after 20 seconds. So essentially, if you use Gentle Dream, which is her second ability, you get this Force Strike modifier. You use your Force Strike, it turns your Force Strike into a buff. It's pretty cool, pretty unique. Not a lot of characters have Force Strikes that are buffs. Most characters have Force Strikes that are just more damage. But her second skill does have skill shift, and it does actually give the team more buffs while also doing damage and inflicting paralyze. As far as I'm concerned, she has become sort of a backline bot. She's not too meta. She is useful if you need this damage effect. Obviously, any unit in light is going to want this damage effect because of damage. But all in all, I don't think she's particularly meta. As far as I'm concerned, I think that Chrom and Peony definitely do need a Mana Spiral or 70 MC. I'm kind of a little bit disappointed they didn't announce one. Hopefully they will. Maybe we'll get a Trials in the Mighty for it. That'd be pretty cool. Especially if it was somehow tied to, you know, the event. Like we got a Alphonse Trial of the Mighty, or we got a Fjorm Trial of the Mighty kind of thing. But yeah, that's all in all for this banner. My final say on this is summon if you don't have them. They're limited units. They're, as far as I know, they're not going to be back. They're cool to have. It's cool to look at them. They all feel very complete in unit and play style. So I do like them. So I would say summon if you don't have them. But that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.